My name is Dr. Grace Kakari. I go by Dr. G. And today we get to look at intellectual wellness. Today we have with us Dr. Bertha Sewa Ai. And I personally love the name Bertha because my little sister is Bertha. She's cute. Cute little Bertha. But I'm excited to welcome Dr. Bertha into the room. I will let Doc introduce herself to the thriving generation and then we'll move on straight to our conversation. Hi, Doc.
Hello, Dr. D.
Oh,
Thank you for
wonderful.
having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation.
My
Could you
pleasure.
please introduce yourself to the thriving generation and what you do so that we know who we are interacting with?
All right. So my name is Dr. Bertha Sewa Ayi. I was born in Ghana as the last of 6 children. My father was a bus driver. My mother was a trader. I was born in Akimoda, but I grew up mostly in Latebiokoshi, where I went to St. Anthony's Preparatory School and then to Wesley Girls High School. When I was in St. Anthony's, I noticed that I was intelligent. I was almost always first in class. And when I was in class 5, I had something really life-turning happen to me. My class teacher said he saw potential in me. His name is Mr. Amwama. He took me to the headmistress and said I could skip the whole of class 6.
Okay.
And so I went to class 7. At that time, class 7 was a class where you sat the common entrance to go to high school. And when I got there the first day, there was a math test and I was second. I was tiny, so they put me in front of these 7th graders who were supposed to be a year ahead of me that, look, she beat all of you, how come? Anyway, so I went to Wesley Girls High School and then to medical school. I've been in the US for the last 24 years. I work as an infectious disease doctor at Essential Hospital in Fargo, North Dakota. This past year, I had the opportunity to be the president of the Ghana Physicians and Surgeons Foundation of North America, an organization with a potential number of about 4,000, but our membership right now is about 200, and we're making impact in Ghana. And I also had the opportunity to be part of a training program organized by Women Lift Health that seeks to position women to be global leaders in the healthcare sector. So I was on a journey with about 30 women and we graduated this past February. So it's been an exciting journey this past year. And I am married. I have 3 sons, 19, 20, and 22. So
Can I say that I'm jealous?
oh,
Your last born is 19. I want that so bad. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your journey with us. You've been in the field for so long and you've worked on yourself to become who you are today. Today we are discussing intellectual wellness and we are kind of focusing on women. Everybody's welcome, right? But I want us to start from, you did share something wonderful, somebody noticing that you are doing well in the beginning ages and helping you move ahead, going to write the exam. How would you say that impacted you? Would you call that mentoring, like mentorship? Like, did you get early mentorship that helped you path your way to this point? Or did you have to do most of the things on your own, figure your way out?
all right. So thank you for that question. Your question allows me to introduce a term that I didn't know until I was part of the Women's Lift Health,
Okay.
which is the difference between sponsorship and mentorship.
Okay.
So when you're mentored to someone, the person is looking up to you to learn something. Or if someone is your mentor, sometimes it's even from a distance. You watch them, you ask for advice. They may be even in your same profession. A sponsor is different from a mentor. A sponsor may not be somebody even in your profession, but somebody who sees something in you and likes you and decides they're going to open doors in places that you cannot go. A sponsor literally takes you by the hand and takes you to the high table and says, I believe in this woman, so you should all believe in her. And we all need sponsors. So in that setting, that teacher was my sponsor. And I
Okay.
actually got reconnected with him. I mean, this happened when I was probably maybe 1980. So we're talking 43 years ago. I've been looking for him forever. I just connected with him 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I asked him this question. I asked him, Mr. Mama, what did you see in me that made you jump me? Those days, that's how we called it. And
Mm.
I don't know if he remembers the details, but this is what he said. You know, he said in class, there's some kids who don't pay attention, they are not serious, but then there are a few who are very focused and the types of questions they ask. And you can see that these children have a future. So you support them. It still doesn't explain why, out of the class of, I don't know, 30 or 40, he handpicked me to be jumped, or
Yeah.
whether he's in his 80s now, whether he remembers the details. But that person is a sponsor, and you realize he's a male sponsor. You can also have a female sponsor. So let me give a quick example. So let's take President Barack Obama, for example. Ted Kennedy was his sponsor. As a black man, it would have been almost impossible for him to be president. And there were many black people who've tried to be president, but Ted Kennedy saw something in him and said, you know what? We're going to make this man the next president of the United States. Of course, Barack
Mm.
Obama was skilled, right?
Yes.
But then it took somebody who picks up his hand and says, look, I'm going to talk to everybody I know, and I am going to be your sponsor. I've had
Yeah.
many sponsors. Dr. Philip Smith, he helped me get my first job in Sioux City, Iowa. My current chief executive officer, Dr. David Herman, he came to give a talk at GPSF, and he came back and told my organization that, look, this girl has so much potential. So you have to differentiate between sponsors and mentors. And
Okay.
you have to also, as a woman, you have to have male and female allies, people who are in your corner. So I hope that sort of answered the question.
It does. I sometimes as women we think we have to surround ourselves with other women. So it's great you mentioned, other male seniors, if I should say, or male colleagues who have helped you to become who you are today.
Right.
So how do we build ourselves intellectually to lead? How do we prepare ourselves? Do we get ourselves in front of these people? How do we get seen?
Okay. So, very good question. One of the things I've learned in my women's lift journey was the fact that leadership is not about what you do, it's about who you are.
Okay.
So the first lesson during the whole 1-year program was about identity. And your identity is made up of your gender, your background, your education, your own natural skill set. But during that first lesson, we all didn't mention leadership as one of our identity. So as a woman, your first thing in leadership or in getting to where is, first of all, being yourself and identifying that you are a leader. So if today I have no formal position, it still doesn't change the fact that I am a leader. So that awareness builds confidence. It means you're not looking for affirmation from anybody, because as a leader, they always say it's lonely at the top. Once I interviewed Sister Champon, who was headmistress of Wesley Girls High School, the first headmistress.
Okay.
And one of the things she said, this was a private conversation, she said it's lonely at the top. So you need to believe, and then there'll be critics, people who criticize every motive. So you need to be confident in yourself. And that one, nobody can do that for you. In fact, you can have 20 people giving you compliments. If you don't believe in those compliments, it will not change anything. So that confidence should come from inside of you, that you believe in you, that you can lead. And then you start leading. So I know it's a simplistic answer, but it's a huge factor that a lot of women don't take it into consideration. It's actually, nobody is stopping you. You are stopping yourself. And if you decide to be on the roll, you won't believe how much power is inside of you to be a good leader.
Wow, thank you so much. I feel better about myself because I've been saying that let us thrive together. You know, I see the potential to thrive, but I find it, just as you said, it's lonely as at the top. As you are leaving and you're moving higher, and you look behind and your friends and your family, they are still there. You want them to come with you. Let's do this together. So I've been encouraging my thriving friends on here. Let's thrive together. Bring people along on this success journey. So we've been having a look at your career journey so far. May I ask how you got into the United States?
It was through a women's program. And so
Okay.
it comes back to connecting with women. So I finished medical school in 97. And I don't know how, I think I went to do locum at Trust Hospital.
Okay.
And one of the women I was working with was Dr. Susu Kwakume, who together with her husband, now own a university and a medical school, the Family Health University.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so Dr. Susu was like my immediate, so let me call her my mentor at this point because I was watching her. She had been a doctor for many years. And then she was part of Medical Women International Association. So this is an association, a branch of, I think, American Medical Association, or nationally, internationally, who is made up of female doctors. And so they had a branch in Ghana. And so I think I just followed her to one of the meetings. And at the first meeting, I heard that they were going to this international conference in Brazil, and they were going to sponsor one young doctor. And I was one of the 6 young doctors. So how were they going to choose? So we wrote our names on a sheet of paper and put it in a bowl, and she was just going to pick one, or someone was going to pick one, and my name was picked. I was going to be sponsored.
Oh.
Ultimately, they didn't have money, so the sponsorship was in name only, and I had to find my own money. And again, another woman connection. So I had written my exams to be able to come to the United States, but it was that Medical Women International organization going to Brazil. I had to transit through the US. So I got the opportunity to do my interviews. But how I got money to come here was another thing. One day I just woke up and I said, you know what? I'm not raising enough money for this. I'm just going to go to the offices of the 31st December Women's Revolution, which was
Yeah, I remember that.
That was Nana Kunedo Ajimai Rollins. I don't know where I got the boldness. I just went there and sat in front of this gentleman who was like the boss of that place. I told him my story. He looked at me and said, I've talked to many women. Some of them are focused on makeup, clothes. Your mindset is different. I think you're going places. Come back tomorrow for $2,000. And that is how I was able to. So my coming to America was still because I was connected to women's organizations. So I have had a long career after that, but if you just want to know how I got into this country, that was it.
Yes, you've had a long career and you've still been very, very impactful even here. And I would love to share an event you have coming up. But before that, let's talk about some of the challenges. Sometimes it sounds so fantastic and I love for everybody to get the whole picture. The success journey is great, but then there are some challenges you may encounter, and people have gone through them and they overcame. So if you're comfortable sharing any or some of your challenges and how you were able to overcome them to this point.
Okay. So just very quickly. So let me just give a brief history of how women got to where we are, then it will put the challenges into focus. The reason why you need male allies and also female allies is that who has been blocking the progress of women? The doors have been closed because men have been in leadership all along. So part of the women's lib thing, I keep bringing it up, is based on the fact that if you look at the healthcare workforce, you go to any hospital, women make up 75% of the workers. They're cleaning, they're the nurses, some are doctors, etc. But if you go to the C-suite where decisions are made, women make up less than 5% of those making decisions. So how come it's men directing healthcare around the world when so many women are working in the healthcare industry? And it goes back to the 1836 or so. Here in the US, a lady, I forget, her name starts with an M, I forget her name, but she lived in Illinois and she was doing everything like a lawyer. She was clerking in the courts, and one day she decided, you know what, I want to be a lawyer. And the Illinois bar refused to grant her a legal license to practice as a
Oh,
lawyer because women were not supposed to be thinking and women could not become professionals. It went to the Supreme Court of the United States. And guess what? The Supreme Court at that time sided with the state of Illinois that because she was a woman, she cannot use her mind to think. So this is America enlightened 1800s, not
mhm.
allowing a woman to be a lawyer. So fast forward. So if you think globally, imagine what the other women in the world were facing. Now,
Yeah.
this is because in the US, they had laws in place that once you got married, your husband was supposed to take care of you. So you could marry and just sit at home and relax. Women were not working, you know. So,
Yeah.
I mean, on the positive side, you could just relax and be a woman. You don't have to work and take care of yourself. But this was not right. And so this led to the passing of the 19th Amendment in the US in the 1910, saying that women, you know, had been granted equal status. They could vote because before then, women could not vote. You could not own property. There were
Mm.
so many things stacked against women. So fast forward, it's 1970s. Judge Ruth Ginsburg has finished law school. She was trying to get a job in New York. Jewish woman, she's white. You can't even say she was a black woman. No judge would hire her because they told her she was a woman. And
Hmm.
they'll say things like, well, the last woman we hired did terribly. So after a long period of this, she decided to devote her life to advancing the cause of women. So if you're asking me about the challenges I've faced or the challenges women, I think it's even unfair to personalize it to myself. I think the first barrier women face is the notion that our minds are feeble. In fact, for the
Mm.
longest time, that's how women were perceived. They have weak minds, they have weak bodies, so they have weak minds, and so they cannot think. I
Yeah.
mean, if you think that at class 5, a teacher is jumping me to the next class, there are boys in the class, right? I
Yeah.
go to the 7th grade and I'm doing well, better than a lot of the people. So you can't say that intellectually, just because I'm a woman, I cannot think. So I think
Mm.
that's the first barrier that most women would face. People who think you don't know anything simply
Yeah.
because you're a woman, because we have what it takes. And sometimes the other barrier is women themselves. You know,
Mm.
when women have to report to a man, because we've had this patriarchal system where men have always been the leaders, they're
Mhm.
more likely to be obedient or to submit to the authority of that woman. But when there's another woman reporting to another woman, immediately everything you do is too much. If you're firm, they
Mm.
call you names. If you try to be so,
Yeah.
I mean, women, we ourselves have to be conscious of the barriers that we place in other people's way. And then, of course, that traditional role that you're a cook, you're supposed to clean and take care of the home and the children. So that can become an additional responsibility. So it's always important when you're getting married that you define what the roles are. I mean,
Yeah.
in med school, I would hear some doctors, not all of them, about 2 or 3. I wonder how their marriages are doing, but they will say things like, oh, I can't wait to get married, so I stop washing my clothes. Like, you know, med school, everybody's doing their stuff, right? There'll be some who will say, oh,
Mm.
wait, I'm waiting to get married, so somebody will cook for me. So already, their construct of a wife is not a helpmeet, somebody who's going to help them succeed in their
Yeah.
profession or in their business. It's somebody who's going to be domiciled at home and cook and clean for them. So when that becomes a responsibility, you can be perceived as not being a good woman or woman enough. So I want to tell all my sisters out there, don't let cooking and cleaning become the judge of your personality, because you have a mind and you have a body, and society has placed certain roles on that. That's not to say I cook very well. In fact, I love cooking and my cooking tastes good too. But it's important to realize that apart from these roles, we have a mind and you can thrive. You can read every day, you can excel at your profession, and you can become anything that you want to be.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for that and for sharing some personal things. And I think that's the reality. We have to be ready. We do have to be ready. I don't know. When you went for your women conference, did they give you some tips on how to approach some of these things? Like, do you say no? I am not going to do it. How do you strategically work around this professionally and still, be firm?
You mean at home or in the workplace?
I would want to go for both, but whatever you are comfortable with, because we are going for intellectual wellness. At home, maybe it has to be a new day, a new topic. Touch on that a little bit. You are married, you have three wonderful kids, and they are not kids, big kids. But how do we navigate through the? Especially professionally, it's hard when you achieve something and someone tells you you have that because you're a woman, or you get a position, you get in a leadership position. It's like, oh, they gave it to you because you're a woman, and you know very well that you are capable, you are there because you are qualified to be there. How do you stand for yourself in situations like that?
I think your results and output would show it. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think my husband has tried to stop my intellectual progress
Okay.
because I mean, when he met me, I had passed medical school. I was a medical doctor. And I think I made it clear that my career was important to me. Actually, it's the reason why we ended up in the US, because left to him alone, would be living in Ghana. And there have been
Okay.
times when I've questioned the decision, like, should we have been in Ghana now? But I had made the decision that that was cast. And so we came here because I wanted to study. So that has not been an issue. And I think it's a little bit too of my own determination, but it's been challenging. So, for example, my first infectious disease boards, I had two children. No, I had three children at the time, because every year of my residency, every other year, I had a baby. And so I had three children. I was trying to study for my boards. It wasn't simple. And at the same time, I wanted to teach them too. So between teaching them, there were, I think, 4 years and 2 years and 7 months. So between teaching them, but so here's the sacrifices I had to make. I had to wake up early, like
Okay.
3 a.m. I'm up because I want to read for about 2 hours or 3 hours before the day starts.
Okay.
So it's going to be intellectual health is not going to happen quickly. It's easily. You have to make a determined effort
Mm.
that you are going to keep your mind active and keep professionally sound. So I've set myself a goal. I haven't achieved it, that every 3 days I'll read a book completely, meaning I'll read 100 books a year. Well, I
Okay.
find that between working and coming home and doing all the things I have to do, I may not have time for it. So it means if I want to read 30 minutes a day, I have to wake up 30 minutes earlier than scheduled to be able to sneak that reading time
Yeah.
in there to be able. So it's a commitment that you have to make to stay intellectually healthy and vibrant.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. You have to commit to it. You have to do the work. It won't come naturally. You have to prove yourself, and the results will show. That
Right.
nobody can deny. If it's red, nobody can say it's yellow. I mean, it's red, right? Now, do you have final advice for the thriving generation? Most of us are now on the career path, trying to find our way, figuring things out every day. You've been there, and you are still there. Any final advice for us as you part?
You should believe in yourself. That's where the confidence comes in. Believe in yourself. I've looked at the whole world, at some of the most successful people, from Usain Bolt, Oprah Winfrey, Kevin Hart, um, Beyonce, in almost every sphere: sports, medicine, music. And there's one thing that characterizes successful people: self-confidence, believing in you. You don't have to wait for somebody to believe in yourself. And believing in yourself is almost like you're trusting God, because God did not
Mm.
make a bad product. You've been fearfully and wonderfully made, man or woman. You've been fearfully made. Your mind is sharp. There's nothing you cannot do if you put your mind to it. So you can be intellectually healthy. Have faith in yourself and don't listen to naysayers and people who put you down.
Right, right. Thank you so, so much. Okay, thriving friends, we've had Dr. Betha Sewa Ayi with us. It's such a wonderful opportunity that we've had to discuss intellectual wellness with women, or about women. All right, so intellectually well, what is that? Doctor has done a great job giving us practical examples. But as we walk our way this week, let us all endeavor to stay healthy. We are keeping our brain healthy. So, whichever field you are in, go and stay brain healthy. Try and work on yourself. It's not going to come easily. It's not just going to fall in your lap. Luckily, if it does, wonderful. But are you even prepared to hold that position? Are you even prepared to lead? So if you're a teacher, read more about what you do in the areas of teaching. Can you adopt new pedagogy and like do something else? If you're in social media, what are the new things, new tech coming up? Can you learn so that you be on top of your game? If you are a school owner, you are running a school, can you learn more about leadership opportunities, leadership skills, administrative things? Wherever you find yourself, please, let's go and build ourselves, okay? And it doesn't only have to be in our profession. We can also stay intellectually healthy within our communities by remaining involved in social aspects of our lives, okay? So join that chess group, or what are some of the sports fun things? What do I do for fun? I like hanging out with people. Maybe that is all. And we just talk in intellectual conversation. I also have a mastermind group that we talk about business related things. My husband and I have children's book publications. So sometimes we talk about business, we talk about Amazon, we talk about new products. I think I am staying intellectually healthy there as well. So whatever you are interested in, try and mingle socially as you mingle professionally as well. So we are going to work out this week knowing that success is not easy. There are going to be naysayers out there. There are going to be people who will be pointing fingers. Once we are up there, they are going to tell us that, oh, that is so easy. See, you just got here like that. It's okay, let them say it, but you know that it's not easy. And I want you to keep in your mind that it's not easy so that you don't give up on the way. When you get to the place and you start facing the challenges, know that those who are up there went through that. Okay, you are going to make it. You are going to thrive, but you are going to push yourself to thrive. And then finally, I want you to know that women belong in all places where decisions are being made. So wherever you work, wherever you find yourself, you belong there. You have to be there. Know that you can be in the leadership position if you want to be. Build yourself up. Grow yourself up. Find mentors, find sponsors, as we've learned today. We need both of them. We need male mentors and sponsors. We need female mentors and sponsors. Get yourself out there and get yourself involved in groups like other thriving friends like us. Join us. Let us keep learning. Let us keep thriving. And we are going to make it together. I wish you all the very best. Let us get out there. Let us go on and keep thriving. Be well. Bye, friends.